In today's video, I'm going to be cleaning my cousin's PC. I think it's been like a year and a half since I last opened this up. So I'm just going to quickly open it up, see what it looks like on the inside, and then proceed to cleaning it up. Okay. It's a bit dusty on the inside, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So yeah, it's a lot more than what I was expecting. We've got some dust bunnies over there. So yeah, there's a whole lot of cleaning up that I'm going to be doing in here. So the first thing I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to remove the graphics card. This is an RX 570 4 gig. I'm going to remove this graphics card and clean it up. And once I have this graphics card cleaned up, I'm just going to put it up for sale and get rid of that, because I'm going to be upgrading my cousin from the 4 gig card to a GTX 1070. I have a spare one that I'm not using, so I'm just going to remove the RX 570 and replace it with the Zotac GTX 1070. I'm just gonna quickly grab my blower. I'm gonna take this machine outside and I'm gonna use my blower to blow as much of the visible dust out as possible. And once a lot of the dust has been removed from the PC, then I can come back and use my wife's makeup brush. I don't think she knows that I have these, but I'm going to use my wife's makeup brush to get rid of the remaining dust inside of the PC. And I've got some thermal paste there. I actually have 2 of these over here and some alcohol swabs. I'll use these to also replace the thermal paste inside of the CPU, because I don't think that has been changed in a while. So we're going to be changing the thermal paste on this, upgrading the GPU, and cleaning this out as much as we possibly can. I'm outside. I have my blower right there, and there's the PC right there. I think we got rid of the big chunks of dust that were visible. We got as much of that out as we possibly could, so I'll finish the rest of the cleaning on the inside. So I'm back in the house. I used the blower to get rid of as much of the dust bunnies as I possibly could. Then the rest of the cleaning is gonna have to be with my wife's makeup brush, and we're gonna try and get rid of as much dust inside of the PC as possible. But before we get to that, I'm gonna remove the GPU first, so I can have a lot of space to work with inside of the PC case. So I'm just gonna take my screwdriver and I'm just gonna remove the GPU. And there's the GPU right there. This is the RX 574 gig GPU. We're going to be upgrading this to the GTX 1070. So I'm just going to quickly put that to the side, and I think we have a bit of space to work with. Before I remove the CPU, I'm just going to clean as much of the dust out as possible with my makeup brush. So, if you want your PC to last you a very long time, it's important that you take care of it. If you take care of your PC will take care of you. So, if possible, every 6 months or so, just open up your PC, clean it up. If you know how to change the thermal paste of your CPU, maybe you can change that as well. But more often than not, when you change the thermal paste of your CPU, that should be good enough for a couple of years. Unless the temperatures start going up, then you can repaste it maybe a bit more often. So do not let your PCs go years without having been cleaned, especially if you want your PC to last you longer than it would otherwise. Then I'm just gonna pull this up like this. We've got the back of the case right there. I'm just gonna quickly clean this off here like that. Then I'm just gonna open the side panel for the back so we can see what's going on this side of the case. Like I said before in my other videos, the reason why I prefer using a makeup brush to clean up my PC is because the bristles are super soft. They don't break off, they aren't hard. They're not gonna damage the components of your PC. And a lot of the makeup brushes out there tend to be very high quality. So they are soft because they have to be used on the skin. So if it's soft for the skin, it's gonna be more than perfect for cleaning up your PC. Then this is the side panel here. As you can see, it's super dirty as well. So I'm just gonna grab my pink cloth and remaining there. I'm just quickly gonna clean up this little area here. Then I'm just gonna bring back the GPU. So this GPU here, I'm not gonna open it up to apply fresh thermal paste. This GPU has never been opened before, so I would like to keep it that way because I'm just gonna sell it. The temps are still good, it's not overheating, there's nothing wrong with this GPU, so there's no point in changing the thermal paste. I'm just gonna clean up the dust on the top, and later on I'm just gonna use the blower again to blow as much of the dust out from the inside as possible. Then I'm just gonna list it for sale. Then the new owner, if they want to, they can change the thermal paste for themselves. But the temps are still good, there's nothing wrong with the GPU, so it should be fine to use as is. So because the bristles are super soft, when I'm using them I don't have to worry about damaging the top of the GPU. Then this is the other side of the GPU. So as you can see, the inside of it is extremely dusty. So I have to go in there and clean that up as well. So for this one here, I think I'm just gonna remove the drives from the PC. I'm just gonna remove these, and I'm gonna unscrew that as well so that I have more space to work with. And if I remove the hard drives here, I should be able to clean the fans much more easier, because I want to clean everything as much as I can without unscrewing everything in here. The cable management is a bit messy here on the side, but it doesn't really matter, no one is going to see it. So I'm just going to unplug the drives from the back here, and I'm just going to unplug the ones for the SSD as well. So now I should be able to remove the drives. This is the first drive. I'm just gonna put it over here to the side. Then here we have the second drive. I think both of them are like 1 terabyte. Then here we have gigabyte SSD. I think this is like 350 gigs. So I'm just gonna quickly unscrew that. Then here we have the gigabyte SSD, 250 gigs. I'm just gonna put that off to the side, and in case you didn't see it before, here we have an HP, I think it's S700, 1 terabyte SSD. So all in all, we have HP EX900 512 gig NVMe as the main drive. Then we have the 1 terabyte HP S700 SSD. Then we have a 250, and we have 2 1 terabyte hard drives. So all in all, we have 1.750 gigs worth of SSD space, and we have 2 terabytes worth of hard drive space. Actually, I think the best way to go about this would be to unscrew the fans so I can clean them properly. So okay, I think we might have a problem right here. I'm not sure if you can see, we have the hard drive cage right in the way of the screw for the fan right here. And if I move the PC like this, if we check out the bottom of the PC, as you can see, they are bolted in, they are not screwed in, so it might be a bit tricky to get to that fan over there. So if we can't get to the fan right there, the only option we might have would be to try and clean the fan while it's still on the case. You know what? Let me just because as much as I'm trying to avoid disconnecting everything and unplugging everything, it's kind of leading me there. So you know what? I'm just gonna undo the entire machine and do a proper job of this. Then I'm just gonna flip this PC over like this. I'm gonna disconnect the CPU fan there, and that, and I'm just gonna make sure that I remove the power cord here as well. Unscrew the entire motherboard. Unplug everything here. I'm gonna leave those. I'm gonna leave those. I do not want to struggle putting back these little pins into the correct spot. And that should allow me to remove the power supply. I keep avoiding it, but I gotta unplug these. I don't really have a choice in the matter because I'm really making things difficult for myself, but not unplugging that. So we're gonna unplug these. Now the entire motherboard is out. So this is what the motherboard looks like. I have no idea what the CPU under here is, but what I'll do is once the PC is up and running, I'll put it somewhere here in the video to tell you what CPU it is, but I think it's an i3, something around there. And with the RAM here, it's two 8GB sticks, Hyper Fury X DDR4, and I think it's 2600 megahertz. Once it's up and running, I'll just check on the PC. Then, yeah, that's it right about there. I was trying as hard as I possibly could to clean up this PC without tearing it apart, but it seems like I don't have a choice. To do the right thing, you kind of have to tear everything apart. So this is the motherboard. This is everything that I was trying to avoid, but the more I was trying to run away from it, the more it led me straight to it. I think there's a movie line. That says exactly that. I think he said,
"You could not live with your own failure." Where did that bring you? Back to me.
So it's fine. So we have the power supply out. There it is right there. So I'm just gonna, and there's no power going in here. So I'm just gonna use this to try and hold the fan in place so you don't have the fan spinning around while we are trying to My wife doesn't usually watch my videos, so hopefully she sees none of this. We're gonna if she finds out, that means somebody snitched. And I am not going to snitch on myself unless this is the one video that she decides to watch. We blew the dust out of the power supply here. It's clean. And as you can see here, this is where the power supply was installed. We've got a lot of dust there. So I guess it's a good thing that I kind of forced myself to remove the power supply, because I would have cleaned this PC and still ended up with a lot of dust in the PC. So I think So the bottom two screws are actually facing the outside. So they were smart enough to know that you are probably not going to be able to reach them from the inside. So we have the bottom screws coming from the outside. And these screws, let me just take one out, are longer than these screws right here. So my bad. I was not paying careful attention. To the screws right there at the bottom. I just naturally assumed that all of the fans will be facing the same direction. So right here, first fan out. Then we just need to get the second fan. Everything is so tightly packed in there. And we have the third fan there. So I'm just gonna move this to the side right there. And as you can see, our fans are really dirty. Right there. So time for a little energy. Now we have my three fans here. They're still dirty, so I'm gonna use my alcohol swabs to clean up these fans as much as I possibly can. The alcohol swabs are like 100. Let me check. 70% alcohol, so should be more than enough to help you clean. As you can see, I'm going to be using my alcohol swabs to clean off the dust stuck to the inside of the fan right there. And as you can see, it's not perfect, but it's a lot cleaner than how it was before. Now, we compare this to that, especially on the inside there. As you can see, compared to this, there's a bit of difference right there. So I'm just gonna do a little once over. Then we have our fans done. I'm just gonna put these off to the side right there. And these are all our dirty alcohol swabs. Just gonna take these, chuck them into the bin, and I'm just gonna quickly clean up the area here. Then for this next part, we get to the motherboard. So the motherboard, for the most part, it's pretty clean. For the most part, it's pretty clean. So what I'm going to do now is pretty much just change the thermal paste on the CPU right there. As you can see, we have the thermal paste right there. It's a bit dry, but we're going to be replacing that. Then wipe down the alcohol. And I'm not sure if it's going to be visible on camera. There's the CPU right there. So it's an Intel Core i3 9100F. So I have 2 packs of thermal paste here. This one hasn't been opened yet. This one has, so I'll just use this one here. Then I'm just gonna take my thermal paste and so I'm done putting the cooler back onto the CPU. I'm just gonna get rid of all of these dirty alcohol swabs. So I'm just gonna take this and move it to the side right there. We're done with that part. I'm just going to remove the back fan that's over here and clean that one as well. And here's what the fan looks like. It's a bit dirty. Top of the case there. As you can see, it's a bit dirty, especially the top here. So I'm just gonna take an alcohol swab and I'm just gonna clean the top part of this right here. The PC case is done. The next thing I'm gonna do now is just start putting everything back together again and connecting the power supply back with the motherboard and start rewiring everything back to the way it was. Then this is going to be the power connector for the graphics card. And let me just bring the graphics card. So I'm just going to quickly slide this to the side here. This is the box for the GTX 1080, but we don't have that right now. I gave that to my sister as a birthday present. Nice little upgrade there for her. And I'm just gonna open this up, and inside of here we have the GTX 1070. This is the Zotex, so I'm just gonna take this out, put it here. So this was the graphics card that was in my little brother's PC. So originally my sister had the GTX 1070 Ti. I took that, gave that to my little brother, then gave the GTX 1080 to my sister, and the graphics card that was in my little brother's PC, I'm going to be using this to upgrade my cousin from an RX 574 gig GPU to a GTX 1070, which is like 8 gigs. So a lot of the games that weren't running properly before should be able to run perfectly well on this GPU here. So it's an 8-pin connector, so it doesn't need too much power to run properly. So we're going to be using this to upgrade from that. I have a picture right there of how these cables are supposed to be. So that's going to make my job a little bit easier. Before I continue, I just need to confirm if there'll be enough clearance for the GPU with the SATA cable connected right there. So this one here this one cable here is in the way, so that's not going to work. So we're just going to move this cable here, and let's try again. And this one should be perfectly fine, it's not in the way. put in our upgrade. And there it is. Our PC is done and dusted. Then we're gonna just take this cover that's right here, and we're just gonna slide it here. And I'm just gonna clean this up before we get to that. I'm just gonna remove this cover. And this is what the PC looks like right now. So I'll show a side-by-side comparison of the before and the after on the inside. So yeah. But as you can see, it looks a whole lot better. The fan there at the back is clean, and the fans here in the front are a lot cleaner as well. And the top of the PC is still clean as well. So this is the upgrade, the GTX 1070, and that's looking very clean as well.